All good? Yeah. Cool. Wills, Andrew, thanks for coming today.
Pleasure.
I haven't told you, but the last event in Strongman versus Bodybuilder is fight to the death.
I just have to sit on him a bit, right?
The way you manhandled that 85 kg downstairs was quite scary. So.
There you go, slip inside.
I know we spoke earlier, and your next comp is in Feb.
Yeah, February.
Right?
Britain's Strongest Man for Giants Live. Open to do well in that comp. Loads of good people doing it, so it's I think it's one of my biggest shows I'm going to be doing.
When do we start like ramping up training towards that?
I generally just trying to, I'm just trying to get stronger.
Yeah.
And work on weaknesses.
Yeah.
So like if I'm struggling to get through my hips or my deadlift, or if I'm struggling to lock out with heavier weights on my log or something like that, I'll tailor my training to that. I don't know the events yet. Yeah. So when I know the events, all my training will go specific to that, and then that's when I just, like 12 weeks, I just nail into do as best as I can in that event.
And you had a little insight into some bodybuilder training today. Any chance of you stepping on stage?
Well, funny enough, I know being 140 kilos, it's not forever I'm going to be this weight. And underneath all this size, I probably have got quite a good frame. So you never know, when I get to like my 40s or that, I might do masters bodybuilding. I do enjoy strongman, but looking after my body is also, important to me.
What is like the life of a strongman? Like how off or how late do they compete age-wise?
You've got Mark Felix, who's been going on now, he's 60 years old.
Yeah.
So he's been going on for pretty much forever. He only started when he was 35, I believe. I think you can look at a strongman, you can go now from your 20s to your 40s, and I think you can get a good career out of that. But it just depends how you really look after yourself with injuries and stuff.
Yeah. When you first went to a gym, I assume you just joined, like most of us started doing some dumbbell curls and bit of bench. So how do you get into strongman? Did you go to a gym like this and saw the strongman stuff, or are you watching it at home thinking I want to do that?
Well, I moved to Worthing and I went to a gym there. Before I was doing CrossFit, and I was recommended to go to this gym in Worthing, which had the strongman stuff. I was doing well in rugby. It was just taking a lot of kind of time with the training, the weekends, bought a house, the wife, and I was just trying kind of working out life and everything. And I just saw the strongman stuff. I was like, I just really fancy giving that a go. I really want to do it. And it was just like that. And then from then, I've just loved it from every second.
Is it hard to find, like we're at South Coast Gym today, is it hard to find gyms?
It was, I've been doing it now for nearly 10 years, and there wasn't, back then you had the one in Worthing, which was lucky to find. Other than that, you were going like Southampton, or it was like a 2-hour drive for you to go to a strongman gym.
Wow. And then like at school, are you a big guy at school, or does that come a bit
probably,
later on?
I don't know what was heavy back then, but probably like year 11 was probably 13 and a half stone.
In the rugby team?
No, I never really did sports at school, believe it or not. I was never really, I was sitting at home playing Command and Conquer. Literally.
But did you know you had some serious strength compared to your mates at school?
I love WWE, so I wanted to be Batista, John Cena. I just wanted to be, I loved the gym, that was kind of my outlet. And I loved doing it, but I couldn't find something that I could invest my time in. That would benefit me. Bodybuilding was good, but then I couldn't eat what you eat. I like food too much. It's just not going to happen. So strongman kind of naturally came to me. It's like, you can kind of eat what you want as long as you're hitting your macros. Yeah.
What is your current weight?
I'm 140 kilos on the dot.
And do you stay around that number all year round, or does it fluctuate quite a lot?
I've stayed at that. It's bizarre. I was at 6,400 calories and I was 146 kilos. And I thought, all right, I'll dial it back now, take my calories down and lose some weight. But I've done that and I'm still 140. So it's like I'm trying to lean down, but it's like I'm still this size. Obviously I could take it down really low, but then I think it gets to the point of I can't function and I can't train. So I've got to find that kind of balance. Yeah.
So 6,400 calories a day. How much protein is that a day?
300. I still hit 300 now. Protein is essential. I have to get the protein, and then I just fiddle around with the carbs and the fats to kind of tailor to what my energy requirements are pretty much.
Do you enjoy eating that much?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. It's one of those things that sounds amazing to eat that much, but I imagine it becomes a bit of a struggle.
When you can't just eat, I say dirty, but you can't just eat like a cake or that. You have to eat to fuel your body, and the bioavailability of the macronutrients in there and the vitamins and the minerals. You need that stuff in decent food. So if I'm going to eat proteins, it's got to be the chickens and the beefs and the eggs. And if I'm going to eat carbs, it's got to be like the rice, the whole foods. And I'll just try and fit as many vegetables as I can in there, within reason. But then it's got to be enjoyable, so I have to think about that. Even sometimes I'll swap out and just have chips, just because it's that nice crunch or something like that. That just to get that volume of food in, I have to kind of tailor it to what I enjoy.
It sounds expensive as well.
It's not bad, but it depends what. I see other people at work who just bring like a sandwich or a pot noodle in, and that's their lunch. And I'm sitting there and I've made I have 3 dinners a day essentially to them. So it's just a bit.
I'm quite interested in what your Chinese order would be.
No, I don't. This is a weird. I don't eat like massive food, but I mean Chinese. With the wife would be egg fried rice, chow mein, prawns, and a chicken of some kind. So it's like quite high protein and carbs. Obviously, whereas she'd probably have like a bit of it, I'd have the rest of the tub. Just chuck it on the plate, and I'll just eat it all. The portion size is literally like, you have your bit and I'll eat what's rest.
Yeah. And then, what advice would you give to a young competitor who's just starting out in strongman?
Take your time. There is no time limit where you have to be somewhere. You don't have to be at the big shows in 2 years. You have to work on yourself, stay to your own goals and focus on what you can do, and then work from that. You can't rush it, because if you rush it, that's when you get injured, and then that puts you back even further. So there's no point you rushing and going ahead and thinking, I'm going to do this, because then you get frustrated with yourself that you're not making the progress. So you have to really tailor it to what you can do and really just enjoy it as well.
What do you think has been like your biggest challenge so far in your strongman career? Is it
the injuries? Yeah. I've detached both my biceps. I've done a disc in my neck. So kind of working through that, and it being frustrating. Like my whole right side atrophied. I couldn't even do a tricep push down. I couldn't do 5 kilos, like a tricep extension like that. It just went completely. But there's nothing I could do about that either. And that's just the really, like, if you've got like a muscle strain or a tear, you know what's happening, you know how to rehab it. But this kind of stuff as well, if I go to get like someone to help me, there isn't that many people I can go to and say, oh, I know what you're doing. It's quite a niche sport that you're doing, so I don't kind of understand what your movements you're doing.
Sure. And then what supplements are you currently taking, or does that change like now to leading up to a comp?
No, I mean, I'd say the same. Creatine is a must,
yeah.
I think, for strength and for mental. I think it's got loads of great mental benefits.
Yeah.
Zinc, magnesium, vitamin D3, omega-3.
You've got to be taking some whey protein if you're having 300.
This makes it a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
And leading up to like Brits, obviously I'm going to increase my calories, then I'll start taking the heavy weight gainers as well, just to help me get those carbs on. Because it's just hard when you're getting up to the big calories to get that in. So to make it a liquid, I have to space it out throughout the day. So I'll make sure, I'll get my meals in here, then I'll make sure I'll get the liquid meals in here. It's just easy for me to kind of digest.
Right. And then Wills, I've known you a long time, been a reflex athlete for over 10 years?
Yep.
How do you stay lean? Because any time I've met you, you are just look like you're ready.
What am I going to do?
You look like you're just ready to step on stage. Like any time I've met you in the last 10 years.
I've just always been a fussy eater, so I'm listening to you, and I'm pretty much the opposite of you.
Really?
You know, I don't I eat to maintain. I don't enjoy food, if that makes sense.
I do the same. So I don't eat for enjoyment. I eat for purpose.
Yeah.
So if I get a lot, that looks dry. I couldn't care less. I'm eating this because I see numbers. This is what I have to eat. And then some days you're a bit low and you're like, can't be bothered.
Well, would you say most bodybuilders they diet down to their show and then they go a bit crazy out off season?
Yeah, well, most bodybuilders, what they do is they follow a strict food plan while they're prepping, and then literally sometimes it depends. They just go off the rails when they're off season, or they add more calories off season. Whereas for me, my food pretty much stays the same. I don't really have a high calorie and a low calorie.
Cheat days, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really have that. I eat what I eat, you know. I had an interview where someone said, "Oh, how long have you been prepping for?" And I was like, "Well, technically, I've been prepping forever because my food hasn't changed. I still use the same food portions.
It's a lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not you are you, but you are, this is your life.
Yeah.
It's kind of integrated into every day.
That's it.
That's when you say, like, what you're doing. It's like, are you working up to that? It's like, no, this is my life.
Yeah.
It's just every day is a step working towards something.
Yeah. I think what's always amazed me about spending time with you is like your commitment to the gym. Because we've travelled to different countries. Say we've gone to like Kuwait, a long, horrible travel. It delays everything. We've got to be up the next morning. We've got like 4 hours sleep as it is. You're already on your phone googling where you can go to gym.
That's it.
I mean, I love the gym.
I don't rest day.
Well, I've never seen you. How often are you in the gym? You're in the gym every day?
Yeah, well, at the moment, I was just saying that I was speaking to someone yesterday, and they said, "How many times have you been in the gym today?" And I was on my 3rd visit.
On a
Just
day?
Yeah, so I
Is
went
that training?
at 6 in the
Is
morning.
that training people as well?
Training people as well. So
Oh.
I pretty much live in the gym. So in the mornings I'll wake up and I'll go and do like abs and cardio and stuff like that. But then I'll come back later in the day when I've had a bit more energy, when I've got a bit more
Hang
food
like this
and
bag
energy in
upside
me.
down like a bat.
And that's when I'll get my weightlifting in. But I pretty much live in the gym. I love it. It's, like I said, it's a lifestyle. It's second nature.
And then you're 2-time world champion? 3-time world champion.
Yes, sir.
How did you stay motivated? Was that 3 in a row?
So I done 2 and then I took a year out.
Yeah.
And then I came back and
Why? Was it a year?
I was working. I had to take a year out for work.
Life.
Yeah, and then I heard someone took my title and I was like, who's this guy?
So I was going to ask you about motivation. I guess that was kind of the motivation for the 3rd one, right?
Yeah, the motivation for the 3rd one was, it was for myself. It was to say, because before I got the title, I kept coming 2nd and I didn't know why. So when I got the 1st, I just wanted to tell myself that I can hold on to it and I am the champion and there's, and I think that's why I done the 3rd. Yeah. It was a stamp for me to say, you can't be beaten. Yeah. Like your lifestyle is what is required for this sport.
Yeah. So any bodybuilder, normally you talk to, like the prep for the show is pretty horrible, right? How do you find it?
I find it horrible. Once again, because I'm not a big fan of food. So every single meal is a chore. Every single meal is a workout for me. Yeah. And you've probably seen me eating. I'm not a fast eater. I'll half an hour I'm still eating my food. It is literally a workout for me. So yeah, it's strenuous. It is strenuous.
But then also when you're cutting, like how low calories are you going?
It drops gradually. So I'll probably drop anything from 5 to 10 grams per week as I'm going down. Yeah. So it's not really that noticeable. I would say I only really notice that my calories are low the 2nd to the last week of the show when it's like literally nothing. And but I never lower my intensity of training.
How many calories is it?
To about 1,800.
I'll go on.
Yeah. But the thing is, the calories will always go up and down, but the intensity of training will never.
That's incredible.
It will never falter. Yeah, I'll always train as hard as I am at the beginning of my prep.
If I don't have like 400 calories, I feel it. Yeah. And I know my training suffers.
Yeah,
so I think that's like even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been with you like when we've been like on a show, a trade show, and you're literally competing at that show, and you're still working on the stand, and your energy levels are still there, even though the calories aren't there. It's just quite rare for.
It's a bit of a freak of a nature thing for me. I feel like I produce my own energy. I can run on empty. So food's just a bonus.
And what were you like at school? Were you absolutely jacked when you were like 6, walking around with a 6-pack?
I always had a 6-pack. I've never not had a 6-pack. I was that guy. It's funny enough, a lot of people used to say to me, Will, if you just put on like another stone or 2, you look amazing. Because I used to have striated triceps, striated calves, and I was just that guy. When everyone was playing football, I was in the sandpit doing backflips. And all that. I was just that athletic guy.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So people would just say to me, "Will, just eat a bit more, and you look good." And I think it's the change in my body has been my food.
Were you into bodybuilding back then, like watching TV? Did you have like favourite bodybuilders?
I had 2 people that I watched growing up, and no one else, and that was Ronnie Coleman and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. And that's because I lived with a bodybuilder, and he just had the whole collection of them. So I had no choice but to watch Arnold Schwarzenegger and Ronnie Coleman. But I really liked him. Does that make sense? But no one there was no one else that I kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked them, but I didn't look like you.
When I first got into bodybuilding or fitness modelling, I started looking at a guy called Serge Nabret, just because of just his athletic stance and how he used to stand, and that's what I kind of moulded myself on.
So why didn't you go for like the mass monsters then?
Because it required mass, and
Other substances, right?
other substances that you know. If anyone in Reflex knows me, they know I've got a needle phobia, and I am not going anywhere near anything that's gonna force me to stick something in my body. So, yeah, hence why I didn't go down the physique or Olympic route.
Oh, okay.
Do you have favourite bodybuilders like at the moment?
At the moment, not really. It's funny because I'm not a fan of the whole thing. It's just something that I found that I was good at, something that matched my lifestyle. I wouldn't say I look at other bodybuilders and aspire to them. I have bodybuilder friends that I think, you know, you've done a really good job, like William Bonac and people like that. I think they've done a really good job, but I wouldn't say I'm a fanboy when it comes to bodybuilding or anything like that. Doesn't really over appeal to me. Bodybuilding doesn't. I'm more the athletic side of things.
Yeah, okay.
You know, your body is a reflection of what you do throughout life. That's my belief.
And then, same question I asked Andrew, like, what advice would you give a young person wanting to start bodybuilding? Or advice you'd give a young Williams who's just getting into it?
The advice I'll give is do it smart. Study yourself. A lot of people just walk into the gym and they just start going for it. They just start hammering it, thinking, yeah, you know, I'm just going to get big. I'll say study yourself, get to know yourself. You know, look in the mirror before you even start and say, okay, what needs to match with what? You know, do my legs match with my upper body? Okay, now that needs to be my focus. Does that make sense? And then once everything is in proportion, then you can start building everything out. But you know, you tend to get people, they always start with their upper body and then they look like lollipops and then they have to like try and like, you know, rebuild their legs to match. I would say just take a step back, look at yourself in the mirror, see what needs work and start on that first, and then everything else will follow.
What do you have like a strongest body part, do you think?
Yes, I did have a strongest body part, but I never used it. So I was one of those guys that literally started, when I was 16, I was in the gym just bench pressing and curling.
Yep.
I did nothing to do with my legs, but I was good at deadlifting. So that kind of covered my legs, sort of, but not. And then when I got into competing, I decided that my legs were not good enough, but because they were really strong, I was able to catch them up to the rest of my body really quick.
And then supplements, what are you taking now? Has that changed?
No, it's always been the same. I use Instant Whey Pro, and funny enough, before I started competing, I was never really a supplement guy. I'd probably go to the fridge in the gym and say, "Oh, what's this?" and then drink it, probably like, you know, got tons of sugar in it and things like that.
Yeah.
And then I walked into a store one day and I said, "Look, I'm about to compete, and I need the best supplement you've got, like from your experience." And then he just said Reflex, and literally, I took it for my first show. I won the overall, and as far as I was concerned, if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So I've just always used those same supplements ever since.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say I've added is the super greens, but that's something that you guys have added of late. So yeah, I still have my vitamin D3 and my magnesium, Whey Pro. Creatine, I'm on and off with the creatine.
So you get too much water weight.
Yeah, I'm on and off with the creatine. But yeah, it's always been Instant Whey Pro.
Because obviously there's a Whey Pro use grass-fed.
Yeah.
So is that better for you,
yeah,
digestion-wise?
Yeah, and the fact that it's got digestive enzymes in it.
Yeah.
I've always had issues with my
Don't
tummy.
bloat at all.
Yeah, so that is just that word there, digestive enzyme, that just draws me in anyway.
Yeah.
Regardless. So yeah, that hasn't changed. I'm that guy. I'm the same.
When broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Andrew, Wills, thanks. Any questions from the room? Or what did you say again?
So why did you stay with the brand Reflex?
Just for the mic, Josie's asked, why did you stay with the brand for so long?
Honestly, character. because I had loads of companies approach me, asking me to join them, and to me, this brand was there when I first won. It was there when I last won, and I've always got on with everyone there. I've managed to come to the factory to see how it's made, you know. Little things like that, I know what's being put inside my body. Whereas if another company was to call me, you've probably done it in some country somewhere. I'm never going to get to see the factory. I don't know what's in it. Do you know what I mean? And for me, it's all about what you know and what's good for you. And it hasn't done me any harm so far. And yeah, my knowledge in reflex is quite good. You know, we went through periods of time when we had to travel the country and deliver knowledge on reflex. So that also helps with what I'm putting inside my body because I know it through and through, educational wise as well. So, yeah.
All good? Wills, Andrew, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
Never at all.